how about them tops, son?
All day, SEC boys. SEC, they supposed to be SEC. Jersey all day, baby.
You're listening to the Red Out Podcast.
Hello everyone and welcome into a Red Out short clip here. This is from our latest episode. Hope you enjoy. Since we last talked, when was the Charlotte game? When was that?
I don't know, victory. It was great.
I know, Charlotte game was
we
awesome.
actually blew somebody out for one.
Yeah.
Actually, I got the schedule right there, but I can't read it.
It just, the thing... Go ahead.
About everyone that played in the Charlotte game had a three. That's pretty good. I mean, Boo had one.
Yeah, Boo had one. I thought that was great.
On the board, he got one. Omer had four, along with Jared Savage. But, I mean, threes were raining, finally. We just need that every night.
Well, see, my thing was, and that was something that I said in the ODU preview, was I was really scared that we had fallen in love with the three, even though that's not how our offense works.
Yeah.
I mean, some nights you just do go off from three, though I will say, in the two best wins we've had so far in Wisconsin and St. Mary's, they did really shoot the ball well from three, which all comes down to ball movement and getting it in the basket first. Like, let's be clear here. It doesn't just have Jake Omer covered shooting contested threes all night.
Yeah, but I mean, if you look at it, I mean, Hollingsworth's he's our top point scorer per game with 15 points. You got Bassey's he's shooting 65%. Which, I mean,
Bassey got a three the other night. That was awesome.
And then you got Bassey's getting about 9 rebounds a game.
You know, he has more blocks now than, like, 70-some-odd actual Division I schools total.
Really?
Like, yeah.
I know he's got 2.5 he averages, but...
Yeah, on the season, he is, like, a top, I guess, 12 now blocker on the season. And that's not just, like, freshman. That's, like, everybody playing currently, and he's one of the top freshman blockers in the country.
That's awesome. I mean,
that was Thursday the 3rd was when we played Charlotte.
So that was last week. Okay.
Yeah, so we haven't talked about that yet.
Yeah, I mean, Charlotte game was just a pure domination. That's the happier game we can talk about this week.
Yes.
I mean, Charlotte just has that John Davis guy, and that's about it.
That's
honestly.
literally who they have.
And he still went off and had a pretty decent game.
I mean, he had a heck of a game.
And my boy Jared the Savage had 13 points with 4 3-pointers. So you gotta love that.
Well, it was awesome because that was such a balanced effort. I mean, like the joke goes, like I'm pretty sure they even put in some of the managers to get some minutes because the entire bench essentially played, which you want to do.
Well, those little kids that sweep, they came in and
the
played
towel
for a
kids
while.
that sweat up. Yeah, it was good.
I mean, in the first half, Charlotte had one lead basically. They were leading 10-7. And then they kind of went back and forth for a little bit, and then Western just left them.
Yeah, and like right before halftime, it was like, well, this is where you're starting to like distance yourself.
Yep, 34-23 was.
I mean, Charlotte's just a bad team. They're just not a good team.
No.
And we'll talk about not maybe good teams that maybe have got to win when we talk about Marshall here in a little bit because they only beat Charlotte by 1 the other day. They let Charlotte score 84 points on them.
Oh my gosh! So that seems like there is no defensive. Prowess.
That's like Houston Rockets level defense, right?
Yeah, right. Like,
do they travel as much as the Harden guy does?
Probably not.
Probably not.
I just love how people who are fans of the NBA defend his traveling.
There's no way to defend that.
I mean,
I think it's hilarious though. All the memes that they've made out of him with that double step back.
Oh my gosh! Yes, the memes with his double step back are hilarious. Did you see Steph Curry try to do that the other night?
Yeah, and he put up like James Harden's number, like the 1-3 or whatever.
Yeah.
Did he really?
Yeah, he did the double step back, and they called him for traveling,
and
he was like,
number.
and he's like, he did 3-1 on his shirt, and they were like, no, just get out of here.
That's
just
pretty
get out of
funny.
here.
I like that.
Looks like Western shot about 50%, and then for 3 they shot 42.9. So that's basically every 2 shots you hit 1. So
that's
I mean, I'll take
wild.
that.
Yeah, and again, it's out of character, and I just like. I mean, maybe at some point during this season, like, towards the conference tournament or whatever, they'll be averaging like 41% from 3, and I'll be like, okay, this is a 3-point shooting team, cool.
Yeah, but
I just don't think that's.
But the new tournament rules apply, though, don't they?
Well, the new
the new
sort of,
tournament.
the
so
new
if
season rules. So
Yeah.
the second half of the conference season, whoever, depending on what Western's record is, their top or bottom half, the top half's going to play the top half some more, the bottom half's going to play some bottom half some more.
Yep.
And that's to get better tournament seeding. Now, this year, based on wins and losses, I mean,
it's
North
pretty
Texas didn't play anybody in the non-con,
rough. Yeah.
so unless they, completely run through conference play and get some big wins in the conference tournament, I don't know how they'd get an at-large because they're gonna have a couple conference. I mean, I know they've only got one loss so far, but they didn't play anybody.
Yeah, and they're 3-0
They
as
played
far as
Oklahoma. Oklahoma was their loss.
Yeah, Oklahoma was their
it's
loss.
Not very aggressive.
They
No.
played. You can't even name some of these non-coms.
Indiana State.
Well, yeah. That's why I didn't say that we were better than them because they at least could beat Indiana State.
See, it's so frustrating because Western has more Power 5 wins than they do against the Missouri Valley Conference, and I'm just like, really?
Yeah, Western
Really,
has more Power
guys?
5 wins than 30 or 40 actual Power 5 teams right now.
That's just so
It's
depressing
so
right now.
annoying. Yeah, this team, I'm so salty. I'm just that ODU loss, which we can get to. I'm so salty.
Yeah, the ODU loss is just so... to lead basically the entire game up until, 11 minutes to go in the second is just so depressing.
That's the noise. Ah, God.
21-0. They started off 21-0. That's a
Yep.
football score. That's a 3-touchdown lead. And you go, and as Jake always says, pee down your leg, and you
I
still
thought that's
end up
become my
losing.
saying.
I know, right?
Pee down your leg.
That's terrible.
It's rude and inappropriate.
Terrible. And that
Charles
Bark-
Barkley style.
I was going to say,
Yeah,
isn't that
yeah,
Charles
yeah,
Barkley?
it's Barkley.
Terrible.
It's just terrible.
Western had better field goal percentage. They were just shy of the 3-point percentage. They just had more turnovers, and they had less rebounds.
That's what it said. If we lose the rebounding battle, we're going to... Which, by the way, we can talk about that for a second. First off, don't know how to say their guard's last name. I don't know if it's Stith or Stith. But that kid, who's been there 900 years, their redshirt senior guard, had 12 rebounds.
Told
Their
you,
red shirt.
they misspelled that kid's name.
They misspelled
Yeah,
it.
ESPN misspelled this kid's name. I know I'm right. Isn't it Carver? Yeah, Carver.
And they spelled it
And
wrong
they
in the recap.
Caver. That's hilarious.
That's awesome.
Stith and Caver help Old Dominion rally past Western.
I just... that guard... A guard should not be getting 12 rebounds in a game.
What is going on there?
No, and that's why I said, coming into this, that kind of my takeaway was turnovers and toughness, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of and that's what Coach said, that's what everybody said, turnovers and toughness, that's what it was. The rebounding, with Bassey being down there, that's, even if those, and it's not like he had a bunch, he was getting his own misses,
Yeah.
those are defensive rebounds
Yeah.
that we're not fighting for.
He led in points, which is really crazy for me that the center is leading in points, and he led in rebounds for Western.
You're saying he only had 2 offensive rebounds.
Part of me was wondering if he was going to lead in the assist department as
Yeah,
well.
right. If he's gonna, which again, if he super duper dominates and we get a win, that's cool. But we didn't, and he didn't.
No.
He played well, but at the same time, if we're not gonna have, again, if we don't have a balanced effort and we can't get contributions from everybody on the floor, it doesn't really matter if one player does really well.
I think we just need to take a step back and just relax. I agree this is really frustrating, and I am completely frustrated out of my gourd right now with a 21-0 lead with 12:49 to go. They finally scored 2 points.
Jared, what do you think happened? What happened?
It's just the same thing. This was a tweet that I put. I was the one that was tweeting out the game for the towel rack when I was watching all of this. I said, quote, "A part of me wants to believe WKU will keep their foot on the gas, but another knows how the early part of the season has gone," unquote. I know that with a young team, they're going to get that big lead. They're going to get up a little bit, especially in the first half instead of the second half. If it's the second half and you're up 21, that's a little bit different than the first half. There's still a lot of basketball left when you're in the first half and you have a lead like that. I knew that Old Dominion was going to come back with the run. That's just given. They're just not going to get shut out in a basketball game. You don't ever see that happening. But I knew they were going to get a run together. But it's just sloppy ball handling. terrible passes, just some of the same things that we've already seen in other games that have been lost on the road like that this year. I thought that Bearden should have came in a little bit earlier, but I mean, he's played 8 minutes and didn't register a single stat. So, I mean, it's not like he really made that much of a difference, but I mean, it's better than having 4 turnovers like Banton did in like a 5-minute stretch, which is kind of bad. But, I mean, it's just youth. It goes back to the immaturity of this team. There's only one senior, and he's played very limited minutes up to this point. So, I mean, I wish that they could have held on, but a loss like that's going to wake them up a little bit and show them that they still have to play 40 minutes, and especially when there's still a full second half left, you have to show up.
I mean, the bench really didn't do anything.
No.
I mean, if you
that's another issue too, is getting these other people to come in and actually contribute. But I mean, that's part of Stan's too. He didn't really go that deep either, so he didn't really give him much of a chance.
Yeah, well, I mean, your minutes played were 37, 39, 31. Hollingsworth never came out of the game.
Yeah.
He played 40 full minutes, and then Banton played 31.
Yeah, but I mean, on the bench, you got Smith with 3, Bearden with 8, Omer with 9, and Gramble with 2, and none of them got points. Well, I take that back. Smith is 1 for 2.
They're not really going to be able to get much time to score points if they're only in there for 2 minutes. So,
yeah,
they don't really get much of an opportunity.
That's one of the ones that's kind of made me sad. Is I thought Smith was going to be better than he is currently. Now, I know he hasn't had a lot of run. He's had a few games where he's come in and been able to be more than 5,000 a pulse, but I've been surprised that he A, hasn't got more run in games, and B, when he has gotten run, he hasn't produced as much.
I mean, just looking at ODU, they actually utilize their bench a lot, it seems. Carver, which I can't decide if it's Carver or Carver, because this is the second time they've changed the spelling. He had 38 minutes. Stith had 38 minutes. Well, see, there's a Carver and then there's a Carver.
So
now
I'm
so confused. I am so confused now. And then Green had 32. And then you got Wade off the bench with 25 and Kith off the bench with 21. And then you got 2 starters with 7 minutes.
Yeah, first off, that's pretty wild. The second thing is this ODU coming to this game, very experienced team, a lot of geriatric dudes running around. Yeah, pretty much, but they can ball. And it makes me really sad too, because we talk about ball movement and we talk about bad passing and like careless ball handling. And I think that's all a mental product of the lead, because if you look at the St. Mary's game, if you look at the Wisconsin game, those were games in which ball movement and turnovers were not an issue, where good passing was what got Western to win the game. Because all that
with the St. Mary's game, though, I mean, the last 2 minutes of that were a disaster as far as trying to inbound the ball. There was a bunch of turnovers in it, but the Wisconsin game was perfect. They were able to handle that extremely well, I thought. But, I mean, even in the St. Mary's game, they still kind of struggled in those last few minutes. If St. Mary's would have hit that 3 and sent it into overtime, we would have lost.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, too, is that they fell apart right at the end, which, again, is kind of odd. Why would you...
It's a maturity issue. You got to keep your foot on the gas.
Suck it up, boys.
Yeah.
If it's a mental thing, it's not that you sprain an ankle. If it's a mental thing, just stay mentally tough. Which I don't know how you teach that. I don't know if it's the...
It's just it's getting them to keep their foot on the gas and to keep going after them. It's almost like, hey, we're beating them 100-0, and it's like, so what? Keep running it up. Who cares?
Well, and that's the thing too is I always say there are only a few schools where I really want to run up the score. Old Dominion is not one of them. However,
they're getting that way for me.
Are they? I don't really care. I maybe these guys don't care.
Probably that too.
The apathy reigns supreme with me in most aspects of my life. Marshall and MTSU,
yeah.
I want to run the score up
I don't care if we're playing chess against Marshall or TSU. Right. It's like, take all his pieces. He doesn't need anything. Let's go.
Third queen, let's go.
Yeah. Yeah, you got your next queen. Let's go, son.
Yeah, no, I deplore Marshall. I don't deplore Marshall. I deplore MTSU. Don't like Marshall.
Yeah, Marshall's not the team that I just... Yeah,
Yeah, they're fine.
That's like people... When we were discussing the rivalries, I just don't... Marshall's not that for me.
Clear number 2 for me. Clear number 2.
Yes. I hate the Mutts, first and foremost. Jared, what is the rivalry like for you?
With Marshall.
Well, I mean, with Marshall, like, I still remember the game that started all of this.
Yeah.
I mean, the 2014 season, when they were ranked and undefeated, we go in there. Like, there was a bunch of pushing and shoving at the beginning of that game, and that was, like, the very first time that we ever played them in the conference.
I love that
just kind of,
story.
like, was that initial just kind of hatred out of nowhere that no one was really expecting. Like, I know that Western, I mean, we were really good that year, too. We wanted to make a statement. And we did. It was 67-66, never forget. And it was that 2-point conversion, I think, that we got that won it. And I know that they hated us so much after that. I remember how salty every single person in the state of West Virginia that cares about Marshall was on the internet after we beat them. They were saying so many terrible things about
I love
us.
how Jared just, like...
how we spoiled their year, so, I mean... And ever since then, it's just kind of been pitching it back and forth at each other because, I mean, you know how Western fans are. I mean, like, they're pretty critical anyways. So, especially when you're already starting to stir up something, you know they're going to jump into that. So, I mean, that's sort of how that happened, at least from my perspective.
I just thought it was funny how Jared qualified that statement. He continued to pare down the people that are... It's like the people that care about... The people in the state of West Virginia, okay?
That care
about Marshall, okay? Who are on the internet. It's like, all right, it's West Virginia. There's
So-
30 of them people.
So, yeah. Out of the entire state of West Virginia, the population is this. The people that care for Marshall are this. And then the ones that have internet.
Yeah, and they have that. Well, yeah, that's definitely going in the article. No, I tell you though, like that. So this mayor, I heard I heard an interview with the. So didn't Western steal Marshall's running back coach a couple years back, Jared? Didn't they hire a running back coach from Marshall?
Coach? I mean, maybe. I don't really remember completely. I think that we flipped one of the recruits. Wasn't it Q Baker? Didn't we get him to flip?
Which would make sense. And we did flip him.
I think you're right.
Anyways, I heard it was the Marshall running back coach, and he told a story, or Jeff Brom said that in an interview a few years ago that this is what this cat said, and he said that game, prior to the game, Brom was like, yeah, I told him, go pick a fight, like Braveheart style, like go pick a fight, because he wanted to get in their heads, which Brom does, right? He wants his guys to play like convicts, and I agree. So the Western guys, that's what he said. He said, I got him to go get Chippy, and we picked a fight. We got to pushing and shoving. And that running back coach said, yeah, actually, when that happened, he said, that's when I knew that we stood a real chance to lose this game. That was when we lost the game, because we stopped thinking.
Yep.
We made mental mistakes throughout the game and, could not close. And he said that was what... He said, honestly, that, him saying that, is really funny because that's what costs us the game.
It is. I mean, and you get more emotional and you let... little stupid things happen, and you get more penalties. A lot of things happen when you are not keeping your composure.
I love it.
Yeah, I
play that
love
game.
it when
Just
you do
win.
that kind
It's
of stuff.
all about the dubs. I do not care.
Completely good with that.
I don't know how you guys feel, but this is kind of a weird story for me. But, Marshall football, I don't really stand, but Marshall basketball, I kind of respect them a whole lot because the only opposing team, ever meeting any of their players or coaches in Diddle Arena has always been Marshall, just by chance. It's so weird. The first time or second time we ever played Marshall in Diddle Arena in basketball when we joined CUSA, Dan Tony was actually talking to the student section about how bad the officiating was. I mean, we all thought it was hilarious, but it was back before the new renovations to where you can't walk over by the other team's tunnel anymore where their locker room is, but I did. And, he was just standing out there. They had beaten us. They got, a last-second three out of nowhere, and they wound up winning that game. And I saw him. It's hey, good game. Y'all be careful heading back, that kind of stuff. And then last year, their center that they had that was supposed to be really good, he, sprayed his ankle or something. And my mom lost her phone, and I was trying to help her find that in Diddle Arena, so I was in there for a while. So when I was leaving, I actually went out the same exit that all the Marshall players were taking to get on their bus. And I saw this guy, limping out of Diddle Arena, essentially. So, I was nice. We won. I was I'm not going to be bitter to this guy. So I hold the door open for him. I was hey, man, I hope you get better soon. You guys are pretty good. It's hey, man, thanks. I appreciate that. You be careful going home. I was I'm only going home 30 minutes. You got, a long ride back to West Virginia.
Yeah,
so,
through the
I
mountains.
That was really respectful.
Well, that's good to know. Like I said, I don't really have... And with a lot of schools, to be perfectly honest, I don't think the players necessarily are the reasons I don't like teams. Now, I will say that I don't know if it was the Southern Miss championship game or if it was I think it might have been the Old Dominion fight game at Homecoming a couple years ago. But one set of players were just absolutely like taunting the students, which granted they probably deserved.
Probably.
But still, they were yelling at fans.
Yeah.
They were like cussing at fans. They were like flipping fans off. And I was just like, look, dude, I don't care what these fans are saying to you. You got a job to do. Go do the job. Like, don't react.
Yeah.
It's hard to
I mean,
do
and
that,
another
though.
thing, going back to middle, though, I remember when they would take, like, red towels and, like, stomp on them and that kind of stuff. And, I mean, that always kind of boils my blood.
Yeah, do not step on a towel in front of Jared.
Yeah.
So Jared, like, so you do not have any red towels in your home? Do you, like, use in, like, regular day-to-day? Like, you don't have any, like, red, like, shower towels?
No, red is not a color to use for a shower towel.
Why not?
Well, first off,
I feel like that would lead through everything if you watched it
Exactly.
wrong. You would have pink undershirts and everything.
if you
Jared,
go...
you wash your towels with undershirts? What's wrong with you, you monster?
No,
No, I don't.
no.
I'm just saying if someone were to do that.
No,
I'm not saying I ever wash my towel. It wouldn't even be the red that would bother me. It would be the amount of lint on that stuff.
First off, if you go back to the story of E.A. Diddle and the red towel, the towel bled through. So he would, like, have it in his hand and it'd be sweating, and the red would come through onto his hand. So it's not a
That's-
probable thing to have, you know.
Dude, I've
or
had red
practical, I
towels
should
my
say.
whole life. I ain't never had a problem. But then again, I wash clothes not like a maniac.
Well,
Separate
you
my
do
colors.
look like the Red Hulk. Just saying.
The Red Hulk. This is like red. I'm actually. If you guys have never seen me. I'm actually just all red all the time.
Yes.
And not because I like have Native American heritage.
No, it's because he uses red towels.
Because I have
to dry
I have
wash
exclusively
dry.
red wash rags and bath towels, and I'm constantly
Go
stained
Tops.
red. That's right. I have a condition, Jake. You probably should see somebody about that. You have a really bad rash.
Yeah, that's not natural.
It's not
man.
healthy.
No,
You shouldn't do
no.
that. All that red dye.
That's not great at all.
So now, speaking of Marshall, that's who we're looking forward to on Saturday, going at Huntington. Jared, what are you looking for in this game?
I really, really, really hope that C.J. Burke and Elmore would miss a bunch of threes, because if they don't, then it could be a very long night. Like what happened to Old Dominion just last game is what happened to Marshall when we played them on the road last year. I don't know if you remember that, but we absolutely spoke them and said we were able to finish in that game, unlike the Old Dominion game. I don't know if they're
112
going to be able
points.
to just go through and just like punch them in the face and like run up the score on them in their own place again. I think they're going to remember that. Although, I mean, our guys are still going to remember how the conference title game ended last season. So, I mean, it's going to be good. But we need to play better three-point defense again and keep our foot on the gas for a full 40 minutes. That would be great.
Yeah, I mean, without Penova, they are not as strong inside. And like I say, I mean, I feel like a broken record at this point, right? You have Charles Bassey. They do not.
See, I was kind of expecting to pee down my leg, but sorry.
Pee down. They're going to pee down their leg again. You know, what's funny is I say that on here, but I never write, like, if Western pees down their leg. Like, I don't think that I have anyways.
No, I've never seen that either. It's just a fun thing to say. Like, writing it out, it just looks weird. But when you say it, it just makes you think a lot.
Thou shalt not write pee down your leg, but by thunder to say it is good. I don't know, I just hear, I guess I hear, like, other people on, like, the radio say pee down their leg, and it just, like, stuck with me.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard you say it for years, so it's just
I
I've
don't
one
know.
of those
never heard
things.
anyone else say that except you, Jake. And
Yeah.
Really? Okay. Well, there you go. If I just etch it on my tombstone, that's every
Yes.
time. Guess I peed down my leg.
Yep. Live your life. Don't pee down your
Don't
leg.
pee down your leg.
Yes, I've got one of those little scent things in here, and it freaks Jake out
Every
time
time.
it goes off. He
The
jumps.
like the automated thing that just like does a really soft fart of good smell and stuff. Honest to God, I told them before we started recording, it sounded weird, and I was like, "Did your dog just like shart over here? Like, do we need to go clean something? Because that sounded terrible."
But my expectation for the Marshall game, I think Western should just go out there and just murder them. Not literally murder them, because that would be a
Figuratively
crime.
speaking,
Yes, but figuratively go out there and just clean the floor with them. I mean, if Charlotte did it and Western, thumped Charlotte, we should figuratively go out there and beat Marshall.
yeah, I don't
It
know.
is rivalry kind of thing, but it's just I don't feel like it's that big of a deal.
I mean,
as far as
Marshall's so up and down. Like I said, they go out and they beat Old Dominion by 3 on like a last second shot. Then they go and barely beat Charlotte. Let Charlotte hang 84 on them. We held them to 50. I don't know what to expect. I guess it's kind of like what Jared said. If Elmore is hot from 3, I think we stand a good chance to lose. But as long as we can limit everybody else and kind of keep the one-man army being the only person scoring, then I think we stand a good chance to win. Again, I think it's all about rebounding in the inside. I honestly do. That offense moves best when we're working it to Bassey, or at least having Bassey drawing attention so that the outside shots can fall, like they did against Wisconsin, like they've done in a couple of games before. Devin literally just spent like 2 seconds doing like
I've got a rope in my hand, and I'm bad with playing with things as we talk. And so,
such a
and
fidget.
the little game you used to play as a kid where you would tie a rope,
strings,
and then you would do
yeah.
the thing and put somebody's hand through it and then do it. Yeah,
Jared,
I
are
just
you
did
too
that.
young for that? Do you not remember the string thing?
I know what y'all are talking about.
Okay, good. I'm glad
They
we
had it in Franklin, thank God.
Thank God. They didn't have anything else in Franklin.
Community.
No, they played with cans and socks, which was
Right.
really deadly.
The
but
stick in a hoop?
Yeah. No, socks and cans. They played mace.
Oh God.
Bah. Actually, I heard a kid talk about that one time. They're like, yeah, we had a kid get in trouble because a kid brought a sock and a can of soup or tomato soup to school.
To like hurt kids
Yeah,
with.
to hurt people with. And I went, Jesus. I mean, like, Scottsville, like, they write notes and say they're going to bomb the school and, it gets canceled. But we never did that.
It's like that guy that said he was going to burn down Trinity if Jeff Brom didn't get hired.
biggest
Oh,
troll,
yeah, I remember
biggest
that.
troll move ever, but he was...
And it closed the school down.
He closed it, but it wasn't even, time-wise, it was nowhere...
It was pretty. I mean, I part of me understands because
Yes.
I had a kid there.
But you can't say that.
Yeah, you can't. Oh, dude, you cannot. Yeah,
You
that's
cannot
so
say that.
Stupid. Like I heard today, some guy made a some radio sports
Oh
guy
my gosh.
made a Holocaust joke
Yeah.
about something with gas victims, and it's just
my
I don't care how funny you think the joke is.
No,
you're
no,
not allowed
no.
to say that.
No.
That's an immediate. You get fired.
Yeah.
You just can't do that.
Yeah, I feel really bad about my Hitler jokes sometimes.
Yeah.
Like
You just
Yeah,
can't.
you got to thump somebody in the back of the head for that,
Yeah.
especially. But yeah, I cringe at Holocaust jokes.
It's just like
It
dude, you just
doesn't
can't.
matter
You
how
just
far
can't.
ago it was. It's still a
No,
horrendous
yeah,
thing that happened.
you just can't. But it's just wild because that's why you gotta kind of pay attention to the
Yes.
jokes that you make. It's
But we should go out there and destroy Marshall.
yes, destroy Marshall. And again, that's the thing. I just am looking for this team to finally, more than 1.5 games in a row against non-garbage challenges.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
Charlotte. Maybe next year, bud.
Yeah.
You guys are bad. I'm sorry. You're supposed to have good recruits, so hopefully that's all well and good. But they're just bad. I want 2 games in a row where we can actually put together a full. Because like we noted earlier, the St. Mary's game, yes, we won, but we fell apart in the last 2 minutes. I just want a consistent effort of a couple of wins in a row. We thought we were going to have that. I mean, we had that, St. Mary's and then Wisconsin and Charlotte. We had that. And I just want it to continue because, let's be real here, you have to win the conference tournament. It's all about seeding at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, the BPI on ESPN has Western at a 53.5%.
Yeah, so toss-up. I imagine this game's going to open with, Charlotte 2.5-point favorite, probably.
I was going to say, it would probably be about 2 to 3 or
Because you're
4
talking
point.
home court, and they're
yeah,
not even.
Yeah, that's what I'm expecting. But points-wise, I feel like Western should take it. I'm sorry. Of course, Marshall does have 80 points per game.
And Marshall can score, don't get me wrong, but they
Yeah.
also let Charlotte score 84, so.
Yeah, well, according to this, they've got 80 points per game, and against, they have 80 points per game.
Yeah,
So
exactly. That says to say, I don't know. And I mean, they let Virginia score 100, which granted, Virginia's a really good team, but they don't score.
No, they're defensive-minded. Yeah,
Right, their whole
yeah.
thing is, I'm going to beat you 52-28.
Yeah.
That's how they want to win.
Yes.
That's the most points UVA that coach Tony Bennett has ever scored in a game that his teams have ever done.
No doubt.
I mean, they're real good,
Yeah,
Which is why they lose in the NCAA tournament.
That's what one of the shows I listen to every day.
UNBC, never forget.
Well, not only that, but how good is their Twitter, man?
Yes.
UNBC's Twitter's game is so strong.
Yes.
See, I wish Western could get somebody of that caliber because
They've got somebody at that caliber.
is that would just draw in more people. I mean, if you're constantly roasting people like Wendy's, they had the National Roasting Day of their Twitter account that they would just take anyone that tweeted at them and would just tear their life apart in a tweet just because. I mean, that would be incredible. I don't know how
Oh
much
my
that you
gosh.
could pay, but sign me up for that.
Dude, seriously though, because if you've got somebody, and maybe Western just isn't on the cutting edge of that yet.
No.
Maybe they haven't realized that yet.
The
Maybe
best thing
Con
that
doesn't
Western
want it.
ever did, and it's not even that good, was when we lost to Maine and somebody tweeted that Sanford needed to be fired, and they quote tweeted it and said, "This is a Twitter account," and it got like retweeted by a few like big accounts or whatever through that. But I mean, that's not even the best one that they could have for something like that.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember laughing. It's like, this is a Twitter account, dude. What do you want?
Yes. Western does have an amazing guy that's at the head of the Twitter department. I mean, you gotta love it. It's just so
Straight
so
down
sad.
Middle and just...
Come on out, we're taking pizzas to and I'm like, oh my gosh.
Oh, now don't make fun of... Is that the thing where they went out to all the Greeks and like brought them food? Man, I will stand up for the Greek students. If you don't have the Greeks on your side in the student section, you do not have a student section.
Okay, I understand there are starving Greeks out there, but do you really have to take
No, they're
pizza
not.
out there?
They're not starving. Let's be real. They all have
Oh,
boat
God,
tons
no.
of money.
Yes, because they're in fraternities.
I was
but-
in the cheaper fraternity,
Yes.
and the dues still weren't like. And
God,
don't even
no.
start how much sororities cost. Like, some of those are over $1,000 a semester, like to stay in.
Yeah, there's no way. I'm sorry.
But
Goodness gracious.
oh yeah, dude. Like,
Great balls of fire.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, Greeks price out the competition.
Oh, I
like,
know. I
That's
realize
why
what SAEs.
the
are
recent
this-
SAE,
rich
SAE,
dudes.
and Signu, and like the big dogs. Like, there's a reason they got $1 million houses.
Yep. Because they pay for them.
Correct. Well, that
Yes.
rich alum.
Yeah, well, I mean, I knew a few guys that were in the SAEs, and I was like, good God. I knew at least one of them had money. Because his dad was superintendent of the Bowling Green school system, or the Warren County school system.
I will not comment on the SAEs. As an ATO, I will not comment. We can take that off the air if you like. SAEs, we'd love to have you listen, subscribe, and retweet.
I'm sure we do have SAEs. I don't have a problem with. I was not Greek, so I have no problem with it. I took
Yeah, I wasn't
ancient Greek
either.
in college. So
I didn't live on campus. I was a commuter.
Yep, I was a commuter too. Jared, sorry.
Ross, Jared, Matt, Fletch.
No,
Booger.
Ross probably didn't commute. He lived in Louisville, so
I have
Matt
not-
may have. Matt may have been
Yeah.
a commuter
I
because
have-
they lived in Plano, I think.
I was a commuter for a couple. Well, I mean, I technically was a commuter because I never lived on campus, but
Yeah.
I had an apartment like
Well, you had it. Well, I mean,
across the gravel
your
lot.
parents lived in Warren County though, so technically you could have commuted if you wanted.
Yeah, and I did for
Yeah.
like a year and a half before we got the apartment. And then when I
Yeah.
got the apartment, we could walk to class, which was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, so it's
And I didn't have to live in a dorm because dorms are not fun.
no, God no, dorms sucked. That's why I was glad I was a commuter. So yay, commuters!
So Ross, we've talked about basketball. Ross, you see, you did maybe
I
call
did
him Ross
it.
now.
I did
That's
it.
your
I'm sorry,
fault.
Jared. Yeah, I'm so sorry.
Whatever, I'm gonna call you Ross for the rest of the night, Jared. So that's how it's gonna happen
My
now.
last name is Ross Ducher, so I mean,
Yeah,
Ross
good
Ross
enough.
Dusher, there we go.
Dev smacked me and was like, "Dude, that's like
I did it too, but I was
it's your
trying to get
fault.
myself.
It's not your fault."
Yeah, I smacked him on the leg, and he looked at me like,
Like,
"What in
did
the
I do?
hell?"
Wait, surprise. Great. We said next we'll start a live.
Yes.
But no, so.
Hope you enjoyed the clip from our latest episode. Subscribe for our weekly Red Out podcast. And always remember, go Tops.